What's up, guys? Before I get into this video, I want to just apologize for the quality of my microphone. It's not the greatest, but I'm currently working on getting a new microphone situation going, but until then, this is just what we have to work with. But anyway, today what I have for you guys is a movement guide. This is a 100% controller movement guide, and it's also going to be an advanced movement guide. So I'm going to kind of backseat, slide jumps, and all that stuff that you can kind of subconsciously do while you're playing the game. And I'm just going to stick to the harder things to do, like zip jumps and bounces and air strafe. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the video. Bunny hopping is a super helpful tool that you can use when escaping fights to become a lower profile target for the enemy. It's also a little bit faster than running sometimes. So now I'm going to show you all how I did it on the controller. Basically all I'm doing, I have my toggle crouch turned off, so all I'm doing is holding in on the crouch button, and once I hear the audio cue, I'm going to press A. So if you time it just right, it should look something like how I'm doing it on my controller right now. And I'm going to go ahead and be silent for a few seconds and just let you guys hear the game. The wall bounce, also known as the wall jump, is possibly one of the easiest and most helpful mechanics to learn in the game. When I push fights, I like to use wall bounce a lot because it gets my body off of that center line that people like to aim at, where your center mass or your chest will usually be. It also makes you a very unpredictable fighter because where somebody expects you to be standing on the ground, you're about 20 feet up in the air, instead shooting down on them. So to complete a wall bounce, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to run and slide into a wall. You're going to want to jump before you hit that wall, and then jump again at the apex of your jump when you tap the wall, and that'll send you flying off in another direction. It's also important to know that you can use the left stick to change the direction mid-air. There's also another type of jump, like right here on this lower wall. To wall bounce off that, you're going to want to aim away from the wall. But here's an example of me using the wall bounce. So now I'm going to show you that move that Dizzy and Asu made extremely popular, which is the vertical zip bounce. There is a possible way to do this on controller, as you can see I'm doing it here. It is preferred that you have a higher sense, usually above a 6 at least, to complete this on hip fire. So there's one big factor and one small factor to actually being able to do this. Your big factor and your main factor is going to be able to hold X and tap A at the same time and look back at the zip. You're going to have to be able to do that all at the same time. The next factor, which is the smaller factor, is you're going to want to be able to hold back on the left analog stick, because this will keep you just in range of the zip line. If I were to say not hold any direction on the left analog stick, I'd just fling off like I'm doing here for an example. But as you can see, I pull back on that left stick and I'm still within range to get back on the zip. So I decided to not look into this one too deep or give it its own section, but this is basically how to manipulate a zip when you're playing a building. And I'll also give an example of how this works in play, but if you were to look up when you're jumping on a zip, you'll bounce up a lot higher. Climbing is another super important mechanic that not a lot of players know how to use to their advantage. If you learn how to climb very well, you can scale buildings on this game without making any noise. So for climbing, there's not a whole lot of advice I can give. It's basically just a matter of going into the firing range and climbing up towers, doing whatever you can, finding anything that you can climb on and go climb it. That's the best way to get practice with this. I can't really give you a end-all strategy to being able to climb better. You can watch the sticks on my controller in this VOD, but again, the only way that you can really help yourself is by going and practicing. Mantle slides is another super important mechanic that you should be training yourself on, because this is another one of those movements that's all about the timing. So all you're going to be doing is climbing and sprinting forward and sliding, just like you see here. I'm going to give you a bad example real quick of what you shouldn't be doing. So like holding the crouch while you're climbing, or prematurely tapping it when you get up top. What you're going to want to do is wait until you're fully completed that mantle and then crouch. So this segment of the video is pretty simple. All you're doing is using your air strafe to transfer from zipline to zipline, just like this. I will have a controller segment on this as well, so you can actually see how I'm doing this. I'm not going to talk a whole lot during it because I have an air strafe segment based on this later. So this is the course I just like to run whenever I go into fire range. I like to mix a few things in there. Obviously you're not going to be able to bounce 100% from zipline to zipline, so sometimes I'll throw in bunny hopping, or I'll throw in a wall bounce somewhere if I can find one. But yeah, this is the course that I generally like to run whenever I'm warming up. So the air strafe, just like the wall bounce, is another super easy, super important mechanic to learn in Apex. It's really great for getting away from fights, really great for getting to where you're trying to go in general. And again, just not a lot of people understand it or know how to do it really well, so I'm just going to break that down for you now. So this is super simple. All you're going to want to do is, on the left analog stick, you're going to want to hold in the direction that you want to go. So for example, we'll say I want to go to the left. What you're going to want to do is hold left, all the way left on that left analog stick, and then on the right analog stick you're going to want to look slightly left. So you're not going to fully commit to the left on that right analog stick, you're just kind of halfway hold it to the left, or gently hold it to the left. Keep in mind that if you want to bunny hop successfully, your air strafe is going to be 100% of what gets you there. So now you made it to the hardest technique to master in this movement guide, which is the horizontal zipline jump. This is a 100% timing thing. I don't think there's any way to really master this. It's honestly 50% luck, 50% timing. So here I added a lot of my mess ups into this filming just to show you how difficult it can actually be, and it's super susceptible to error. But the way you're going to want to do this is immediately after you press the X the first time, you're going to want to double jump A. And this part of the video was actually added in to show you that you cannot do this on a vertical zip. You can only do it on horizontal zip, so we differ from it, mouse and key, from that. But as you can see here, it's a super difficult move to learn. The timing is very hard to master. Alright guys, so that's it for this advanced controller movement guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave any questions or concerns in the comment section below.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'ma make sure they remember me, cause I walk around with a lot of enemies. I'ma make sure that they feeling me, so I walk around with a new lemon squeeze. Everybody know I am from outer space, so you know the aliens be sending me. Yes, I walk around pocket, got bank account. If you wanna catch up,